Good morning, everybody. This is Nicole Crocker. You can't see me in the background right now. I will be with you momentarily. We're letting a few people join. I see Beverly, Byron, Gail, Jill, Kathleen, Marcy. I've got a whole slew of people who have joined us, so thank you so much. As I had mentioned when we were promoting this webinar, nobody can see or hear you, just so you know. This is private. The panelists can see your names, but that's really it. So this is you're private. If you want to ask any questions, I'm not sure how many of you guys, let's see if I've got a poll here, if I can find it. How many webinars have you guys participated in? Just so I can kind of get a feel for the audience here. I've launched that poll. If you could please let me know, is this your first time? Have you done a dozen? Just so I know how much housekeeping to do. Okay, I do have a couple of first timers. About 30% of you guys are first timers. So I'm gonna go through. Nobody can hear you, nobody can see you. We have about 20 participants on right now. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you should see a Q&A with like two little bubbles. That's a way for you to speak with any one of these panelists. All you have to do is click on that button with your mouse. You can type in your questions, and it comes to the back end. I've got two people behind the scenes. Fred is behind the scenes monitoring our live stream. I also have Cassie behind the scenes, and she's monitoring any kind of comments to make sure we don't miss anything. Type in your questions, we will make sure to get them answered. The folks that you're going to be meeting here today, I've invited personally because of my relationship with them. So I own Small Business Marketing Solutions. Thank you. I see a few more people have joined. I own Small Business Marketing Solutions. We are a local advertising agency here in San Diego. We work only with home service professionals. So I know over 100 contractors. I've been in construction for 30 years now. My husband is a contractor. In fact, he's one of the people here who's going to be speaking with you today. We both have the same philosophy. We're here to provide people with information. Your house is your home. You're going to do with it whatever is best for you and your family, regardless of what we think or regardless of what our design styles are, regardless of how we want to install things. It's your house. You're going to select the right team for you. And my husband, Jack Crocker, who owns Classic Home Improvements, and I both feel like we've got a great platform here to be able to share knowledge with you so that you can make your own educated decisions. So our topic for today is Kitchen Remodeling 101. There's going to be a few things we're going to be going over. First and foremost is, where the heck do I start? I've been in construction, like I said, for over 30 years, and I know that if you're not in the industry, it's really confusing. Do you ask your friends? Do you ask your family? Do you go to Home Advisor? Do you go to Angie's List? Do you go to Yelp? There's so many different ways to find people, and they're all good ways. But you have to know what kind of people you're looking for. And that's something that I know is missing in the industry, is nobody's educating the community on what the different levels of service are in construction. So Jack is going to answer that question. You know, where do I start? What are the different types of contractors? What are the different methods? He'll talk about design build versus architect build. If you're going to be taking down a wall in your house, you have to go through a different process for your remodel. He's also going to speak with you about what will make you have a 5-star remodeling experience. Everyone's expectations for remodeling are different. One person might value price over quality. One person might want super intense craftsmanship that's just detailed, you know, European products, and everyone's got different wants and needs. So you have to understand what services you need for your project, and he's going to go over those with you. I'm going to go ahead and stop talking because I feel like I've been rambling for a few minutes now, and I'm going to introduce you to Jack Crocker. He is the owner of Classic Home Improvements in San Diego, as well as Classic Custom Homes, building really cool mid-century modern homes in Malibu. So Jack, feel free to pop in and introduce yourself and tell us all about you and answer those questions for us.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for having me on. This is exciting. I'm happy to be here. I'll start a little bit by talking about myself, only just for a couple minutes because it can get a little boring. I've been in construction for well over 30 years. It's really all I've done. Even before that, my dad was a remodeler. So from being at a very young age, picking up nails on the job site, like a lot of us construction guys do, all the way to now where I own Classic Home Improvements and a custom home building company. This has been my entire career. So I started off, like I said, working in remodel. I ended up moving into the field where I worked in several different, getting my journeyman in several different trades, framing, plumbing, tile, drywall, etc., and found myself in corporate America. I ran some very large construction companies, subcontracting companies, I should say, for many years for national builders, and was really enjoyed that. As my kids all went to college, I decided 10 years ago that with Nicole and I, we were going to open Classic Home Improvements. Classic Home Improvements is a company that's based out of San Diego, and we're remodeling professionals. We do kitchens and bathrooms and all sorts of things, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So one of the first things I thought I would talk about, probably the number one question that I get asked, is what kind of contractor should we hire, or are you the contractor for us to hire? So let me just flip the slide here and I'll give you a couple of instances. So which one's right for you? So sometimes you want to just hire a general contractor. That can be a couple of things. Sometimes people think of general contractor also as a handyman. A handyman, by definition, can only handle projects that are less than $500. We're extremely regulated in California, and you have to be licensed for everything you do. So if you're hiring anyone to do work, you want to make sure that they're appropriately licensed to work in your home. It's important for your safety, the safety of others, not only your financial safety, but sometimes even your physical safety. We're talking about plumbing and electrical after all. So a general contractor can be that handyman guy that is just there handling small little projects for you. They'll pick up lists and things, replace a light switch, that kind of stuff. There's also a general contractor. And what a general contractor is, they're also sometimes called paper contractors. What they are is they're a builder that's licensed to manage the project for you, but doesn't necessarily do any of the work. So if you hire a general contractor, you're going to need to be extremely involved yourself. And I'm going to tackle that a little bit as we work our way through. But basically with a general contractor, they're going to say, go out, do your own plans, find your own materials, tell me exactly what you want in the house, and then I'll just build whatever you tell me to build. If you're going to hire somebody like that, you better have a lot of experience and know exactly what you need, because there's definitely a lot of nuances there. But sometimes that's the right fit for you. A thing that we see an awful lot, and people, they have an important part in the marketplace, and those are subcontractors or specialty contractors. So that's kind of two different things. So California allows for a specialty contractor to get a license, maybe not to build your entire home, but they've demonstrated years of experience and an understanding of a specific trade. So that might be a tile setter, that might be a plumber, that might be an electrician. It could also be painting, it could be roofing, etc. You get the idea. And what those guys are qualified to do is to do that specific trade. Now, what we see in the marketplace a lot of times is people that are hiring a tile setter and they say, well, I've got myself a licensed contractor, and then they have him build the entire bathroom, him or her. But now you've got somebody that's only licensed in tile, that's doing demo, framing, plumbing, electrical, drywall, etc., and of course tile. And tile is a big part of the bathroom. But it's very important that they are licensed and trained in each trade for all the reasons we talked about. A specialty contractor is sort of a slight variance of that. They're going to be a general or a B contractor, you might heard say. So they're licensed to handle all the trades, but they're very specialized to something specific. So they might only do bathrooms. They might only do decks. They might only do patio covers, but they're not necessarily going to be your person to do an addition, because, as you can imagine, and as we start talking through this, you'll see we're only talking about kitchens and bathrooms today, but there's a lot to it. So there's a lot to know if you're trying to build a whole home. So you don't necessarily want a specialty contractor, someone that's got 20 years of experience building a kitchen. You may not want them to tackle your addition, because when you get into the addition, now all of a sudden you've got foundations, framing, windows, roofs, insulation, etc. And maybe their specialty is cabinet installation and arranging tile setters and those sorts of things. So you want to be very careful hiring a specialty contractor. Make sure that you're hiring somebody that has a lot of experience building exactly the type of projects that you want to do. Nobody wants your house to be the guinea pig, you know, and it might go just fine. You never know, but that's a big gamble, you know, is do you really want to be the first edition that they've done? Even if they've done 1,000 kitchens, you know, if your kitchen has an addition, that's still the first edition they may have done, or they may have done very few. So, but they definitely provide a very important role in the marketplace. And sometimes those are exactly the right contractor for you. The third kind of contractor we're going to talk about today, it also happens to be the kind of contractor that Classic Home Improvements is a design and build construction company. And I'll tell you what that is. It's very different. So kind of like what we spoke about, if you're a general contractor, you're expecting the homeowner to have decided everything and already have blueprints. If you're a specialty contractor, they're only going to be specialized in certain rooms of the house. But if you've got a project and you don't have all that stuff done and you need somebody that can kind of help you walk through the entire process, you may want a design build construction company. First, let me talk about the design. So if you're a design build construction company, we're going to assist you with the plans and the blueprints and the permits and all the things that it takes to make your project successful. Could you go out and hire a draftsman or an architect to do it? Absolutely. And that's one of your options. If you do that, then your next step may be a general contractor. But one thing you have to be aware of is if you do that, you're not going to know how much the project costs until you're married to the idea, you love the beautiful design, you're all set to get going, and you may very well have the architect or designer say that it's within your budget. But if they don't build them every day, how do they know? I can't tell you how many times I've had very disappointed homeowners come into our office. They have a beautiful design. They've spent a year and who knows how much money getting this design done. And then when they sent it out to a general contractor to get a price, it's more than double what the architect told them it was going to be. And they end up having to completely destroy their design to do something that's more affordable. So you want to be very careful about doing that. That's what I mean by you really need to know what you're doing. So a design build firm, what happens is not only are we doing the design for you, but as we're doing the design, we're talking about how much it's going to cost. You know, if you say, you know, how much to add a second story, and I tell you, that's meaningful because I have to build second stories and I do them all the time. So I'm going to be able to give you good information so that as you're doing the design, you're doing it with transparency. I call it eyes wide open design, so that when you have these ideas, you get to find out right away how much they're going to cost and you can say yes or no to it at the time. But also more importantly, if we're beginning with a budget and we know what your budget is, we're going to be suggesting things that are within your budget and still beautiful, right? We just will maybe steer you in a direction that's going to help it be budget friendly, because if it comes in way over budget, you're not going to get to build it after all anyway. So that's what design and build is. The other part of it is if we've designed it, we've talked to you all the way through, we know what the costs are. When it comes time to build, we're not going to have all those questions. We're not going to have all those extras and all those unknowns. I mean, they've made TV movies about that, about, you know, the death by 1,000 cuts where you're constantly getting hit with something more and more and more. So those are sort of the basics of the three contractors. As you could tell, I can talk about that all day, but I won't because there's other people that need to speak. So let me go to the next slide.
Just made me laugh. Thank you.
So here's the next slide. The next slide is the other part of the whole experience, right? The experience is how do you do the design and how do you get what it is you're looking for? The other part, and an important part, you know, sometimes it's the most important, sometimes it's the least important, but it's always one of the legs of the stool, is how much is it going to cost? And how much it's going to cost is going to depend on who you hire. And I'll tell you why. Because, you know, this is a very competitive business and the prices are, you know, they're competitive. And so the value proposition that you're paying for is really going to depend on the services that you need. You know, sometimes people say you want it quick and fast or fast and good. You know, you can't have everything. So craftsmanship is important. Do you have a licensed contractor? Have they been doing it for 2 years or 20 years? You know, what's their reputation in the marketplace? If they don't have a great reputation, doesn't matter how long they've been doing it, the trade contractors and the professionals in the town, You know, San Diego is one of the top 10 markets in the United States. It's an extremely small town. If you're not professional and if you don't do good work, the best subcontractors and specialty contractors, they're not going to want to work for them. So you're not going to be able to have them on your home. So having a builder that's got professionalism and is known for craftsmanship, that's going to be important if quality is a concern of yours. Do you need assistance with design and material selections? Obviously, you know, the more work that the builder is putting into helping you with all that, the more you're going to spend on with that builder. I'm careful not to say the more expensive your project is going to be. It's just a matter of when you find out how much it's going to be or the quality of it. But that is going to become a factor. And accessibility. You know, do they have enough bandwidth and enough people in the office? Is there a showroom? Are there design professionals that are going to be able to assist you? Who do you have access to? Those are all part of what's going to help you achieve a 5-star experience. And the old adage couldn't possibly be more true here. You get what you pay for. The less you pay, the less you're going to have access to all of the services. Maybe you might get one of them. If you hire an unlicensed contractor that's been framing houses for 20 years, the craftsmanship for the framing might be outstanding. Unfortunately, you need a lot more than just framing. So you see what I mean? You want to get a blend of all of those to really have a successful project. So that's the basics of the design process explained. You know, like I said, there's a lot more to it, and we can sure talk more one-on-one or later. There's going to be a question and answer period later, but I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the design build process.
Thanks. You, Jack. Thanks, Jack. While you were talking, I had launched a poll, and thank you everybody who participated. It looks like about 50% or so are looking to invest about $30,000 or less. We've got about 30 or so for 30 to 60K, and about 20% that want to spend more of the 60K to 80K. Now, that tells me from being, or that lets me know the folks who want to invest the $30,000 or less, can you get it done? Yes, absolutely. But as Jack said, you need to know who, what services you need. So these are the questions you want to ask your people. Do you offer interior design services? You may or may not need it. Do you select my materials for me? And do you manage the process of delivery and warranty concerns for me? So the folks that are planning on spending a little bit more, you're going to want to probably look for a company more than a contractor, because they have the team to help you with managing absolutely everything from start to finish. They're also called full service remodelers or general contracting companies, just some keywords for you to use when you're doing searches online. So I'm going to go ahead and end that polling, and let's move on to our next speaker. So Andrea Short is the next person I invited to come along. She does work with classic home improvements. Now, I promised you guys you wouldn't have to listen to a sales pitch here, and you're not. I had to reach out to folks that I knew I could trust to give you guys the answers that I believe in. And Andrea is here just to share with you the styles and trends that she sees out in the marketplace. She is in hundreds of homes in San Diego every single year, and she can tell you what she sees. So Andrea, if you want to go ahead and start your PowerPoint, I'm not sure if you've got that set up yet. We can have you talk about the things that you're seeing out in the homes that you've been in lately.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope you can see my screen now. I'm really excited to be here today. I hope you can hear me okay. Today, I'm lucky enough to talk to you about what's trending in kitchen design, which is a very exciting topic for me. Like Nicole touched on, I probably design about 100 kitchens every year. And I get to tell you what I'm seeing out there. And probably some of these are things that you're thinking about doing in your home as well. And the first thing that we're going to talk about today are large kitchen islands. You may be thinking this is not really a trend. This has been around for a while, but it's still the #1 thing that people want to see in their kitchen is a big island. And a lot of people are willing to take a wall down if they need to really make this design work. You know, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, kitchens were smashed into the back of a house, and whoever was cooking had to just be back there by themselves. and alone in this very utilitarian kitchen. And today, the kitchens are going to open up into the whole house. That's where people are going to congregate. Right when they come in your door, they're going to go right to that big kitchen island, hang out with you while you're cooking. You can have a drink, chat. With people working from home, we could put a USB port on your island. You can sit there. Not to mention, lots of kids are at home doing school, so they might love to be in the kitchen with you, and you can kind of keep an eye on them, make sure they're doing their work.
Well, and Andrea, I've seen the USBs too, where they're flush with the countertop, right?
Yes.
So what are some of the options there? They can be on the side, they can be on the top. Can they be underneath the outlets?
That might be something you might have to ask Jack, but I have seen them just built into the cabinetry right below the countertop.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so you can charge your devices. Kids can do their schoolwork without worrying about the laptop going dead from no battery. You're going to get to have lots of great storage. You could do a fun color on your island, which is a lot of people are doing like a contrasting color, having a little fun with it. Even the countertop could be a different, more jazzy countertop on the island versus doing it in the whole kitchen. So those are some of the fun things. You can have a lot of fun with the design depending on how many stools you want to put and how much storage you need.
Hey, Andrea, I'm going to stop you for just one quick second. So sorry, I do this to you guys all the time, but we do have somebody who asked a question. I'm going to bring Jack back in. How important is it that the subcontractor is bonded? Do they get commonly asked for proof of active insurance and license? And what is the way to look up if the license is active online? We do have a URL I will submit to our blog right now so that you guys can see that, where to look up that information. But Jack, do you want to touch on that?
Sure, absolutely. It's actually an excellent question. Frankly, I should have brought that up when I was talking. When I was talking about everybody's licenses and their license types and how being licensed in California is so expensive, that's one of the key ingredients right there to getting licensed, is you have to pass a test for your specialty. But you also have to carry a bond, and you have to have insurance or specifically tell somebody that you don't, believe it or not. So I would say yes, 100% of the time, you should always ask if they're licensed and bonded, and ask to see what their coverages are for that insurance. There's a weird little rule in California that says that contractors aren't allowed to advertise that they're bonded. I think that they think that maybe that makes it sound different than that more impressive than it is. So they won't put in their advertising that they're bonded, but absolutely they have to be, and you should check and see. There's a website, cslb.com, I believe it is. It could be .org. We'll put that URL up, where you can go in there and you can type in by the name of the company or by their license number, and you'll be able to see if they're insured, if they're bonded, how much they're insured for, and is their bond active, all those sorts of things. A very, very important question. So,
Okay,
go ahead.
thanks, Jack. Before I switch this slide, I just want to have you check out these beautiful pendants that they have over this island in the photo, which is a little spoiler alert. We will be talking about the range hoods, which is also particularly beautiful in this picture, and the pendant lights. So that's a good example of those as well. And another trend I'm seeing in this picture is the cabinets that go all the way up to the ceiling, which is something that we're being asked more and more for, especially in homes where the ceilings might be 9 or 10 feet tall. So that looks really lovely as well. Here's some more, some kitchens even have 2 big islands today.
Oh, Andrea, your slides aren't moving around.
They're not moving?
Bottom, no.
I'm clicking through them on my screen.
That's interesting. That's a shame.
Oh,
That's okay.
do you want me
Tell
to
you
try
what,
resharing?
I will take over for you. I'll just see if I can find your PowerPoint really quick. You just keep talking.
All right. Well, I want you to be able to see these beautiful pictures. Like I said, some bigger kitchens can have 2 islands now, which can be very fun, new design. You could have 2 levels on your kitchen island or your peninsula, a bar height and a counter height. That kind of keeps the area clean in front of the person that's sitting. They don't have to see what's on the counter directly in front of them. Are we caught up to the live?
No, I'm trying. Oh, never mind. So it sounds like pictures are changing on the other line. It's just not me. So
Okay,
go
good.
for it. You're good.
Good, nice.
All right, guys.
This is my favorite new trend, little or no upper cabinets. I personally love this. I want to do this at my house. I love windows. So when you don't have to worry about having a lot of upper cabinets, you can have that really light open look. It kind of reminds you of being in France in a little Parisian kitchen. Everything seems very relaxed and homey and open, and you can use beautiful tile and hoods and even some floating shelves. You're going to see all of that in these pictures. It's just a really light, beautiful, organized way to go, very sleek. But not for everybody. The downside of this would be that you're going to have to keep things clean and organized, and we don't want to be putting any crock pots or sippy cups up on these open shelves, right? Panel-ready appliances have become popular again. So people really want that customized, homey, warm look of kitchen cabinetry. It looks so custom and beautiful. So you have to buy specific appliances that will house these panels. And so you're going to want to work with your kitchen design company to get those for you. And you can get them for the dishwasher and the fridge, and then you don't see any stainless appliances. It just looks like a beautiful custom room.
So Andrea, on those, are they from the cabinet manufacturer, or are the appliance just built so that they can handle that cover? How does that work?
Yeah, so you buy special appliances that will be ready for panels. And then as part of your kitchen design, you will have to order the proper custom sized panels for your appliances.
Gotcha. And then we didn't touch on waterfalls on the kitchen island, did we?
No, that's another trend.
One of our audience members just said, don't forget about the waterfalls.
There's so many trends. I know. As I go through this, I'm remembering more and more things. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to go. It gives you that very luxurious look, and it's very contemporary, and you get to see all that beautiful stone. So yes, that's still popular. It's super durable. I love the waterfalls as well. That was a good one for the first slide, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are asking for light wood cabinets, which, you know, they've been around forever, but you know, this year they look a little bit more ashy and cool toned. It's a beautiful way to go if you want that light look, but maybe you're afraid to go all the way to white and you want that beautiful beachy, sandy appearance. There's some beautiful pictures here of that kind of Santa Barbara, Napa Valley look that this gives. So yeah, if you're going to do the light wood, consider using maybe a cooler tone of brown than maybe one with more of a red undertone.
I wonder if a lot of people are changing to that because they did white in their original remodels. I just went back. My first kitchen was white. I changed it to oak and I just went back to white. So I'm curious to see what my next change is going to be too.
Yeah, maybe you could do both, which is also a trend, you know, to do a two-tone. And the designers here at Classic and I really like the look of maybe doing the kitchen island and the lower cabinets on the perimeter in one color and then doing another color on the uppers. That's even more next level.
Awesome.
Yeah. And the range hoods are another way to make a great focal point in your kitchen. People love these professional range hoods. They come in stainless. The first slide I showed you had a beautiful two-tone metal one. They come in copper. You can order them in beautiful wood tones to either contrast or go with your kitchen cabinetry, like on the slide to the left. And it just makes, it's like kind of like having a fireplace in a beautiful living room. It gives you a beautiful focal point.
You know what, one that's not on there actually that brings to mind, mine comes up from the stovetop itself and raises up, which is a really cool
Right, that's called a downdraft. So that will bring out all the air downward rather than upward with the chimney hoods.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's a really good option if people have their cooktop on an island and they don't want to have that visual hood right in the middle of their kitchen.
And that's why we did it.
Tile has really come a long way. It's amazing the custom tile designs that you can do in a kitchen right now. They have every type of shape and design from almost every era in history. The one you're looking at now kind of reminds me a little bit of the mid-century modern look. You can have fun with the grout colors. There's the regular old white subway tiles are still super popular, but now they have subway tiles that look like they were made in ceramics with beautiful like hand glazed looks. So you could really put your own stamp. You can put some color. You can have fun with it. This next picture shows a beautiful customized layout that if you have this in your kitchen, you can be sure that nobody else's kitchen is going to look exactly like yours. And it also plays hand in hand with the no upper cabinets. You can see that so nice and beautiful and open there and showing off that beautiful tile.
Andrea, I'm going to have you pause for just 1 second. There's a couple of people saying that they can't see the slides. So Fred's going to work on that really quick for us. But Andrea, can you go, you're on the slide right now that has the tile. Hey, Jack, are you still around?
Of course.
So two things I'd like you to touch on, because I have tile in my back, which is like a mosaic tile. And I'd like to know how you can explain for people what to expect, number one, when it's a mosaic tile. And then number two, how does like really cool designs like these geometric designs, they look really awesome, but it's got to be hard for the installers. How does that affect price and time to get it complete?
So it definitely, in both of those cases, is going to affect both. So when you have a mosaic tile, they come on 12-inch sheets and can be easily just placed on the wall. So sometimes people think that's easy and something that can even be done as a do-it-yourself, and they definitely are done as do-it-yourself all the time. The trick with there, though, is if you have a professional installer, is that, with mosaic specifically, if you look at traditional mosaic tile, you've got that perfectly imperfect look. So everything's glued onto the back of it, but it still takes a professional to sort of make them line up and to make it look proper. And it's definitely more labor intensive. So if you have a bunch of little 1-inch tiles, you have 18 to 20 cuts on a wall instead of 2 or 3. And you've got to get them all to line up. That takes a little bit more. I'm not trying to make it sound like more than it is, but it's a little bit more work. When you get into something like this, you're probably going to be paying more for the tile itself because it's the geometric shapes and everything are going to be more expensive to purchase. But if you look at all those colors, those are all different boxes and colors of tile. That wouldn't come, that particular one designed like that. That's going to be the tile setter now becomes the artist, and they're setting those patterns and they're laying those in conjunction with the homeowner. So that's going to take a lot more time and a lot more of a specialized, it's more of an artist kind of thing than just, putting square tiles onto the wall. So it's going to take a little bit more time.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I touched on that because I do know it affects things when it comes to cost and timeline to get complete. Okay, thank you, Andrea. It looks like we've got our feed all fixed now. You're good to go.
All right. Well, I really do love this picture. I'm noticing that the edges are even a little bit jagged, which makes it look so custom all the way up to the hood, and even the way they use the navy blue here, it's just beautiful. And I always advise, people always ask me, should I really go so bold with the colors and the styles? And I'm afraid that I'm not going to like it. But what I think is if you really love something, you're going to love it for a long time. So I say go for it. That's my opinion. So the floating shelves kind of go hand in hand with everything we've been just talking about, because if you do have some gorgeous tile going on your walls, this is a way you can really show it off and still have storage and show off your beautiful plates that you've got at the fancy kitchen store, and everything's right there. You can just grab a plate, use it. When it's clean, it's very easy to put away. And, you know, people are worried about dust, but these things generally that you would leave out, you would use regularly. So they'll stay nice and clean. And, you know, this trend isn't for everybody, but if you're kind of a neat freak and you love design, you're definitely going to want to think about doing some open shelving in your kitchen. Pendant lights, we kind of touched on this. You know, you've got that big island perhaps, and you want to have some beautiful light overhead, and it's like jewelry for an outfit is how I see it. You know, you could add some beautiful textures, some glass, some metal. It's just a way to really show off. You might want to consider getting large pendants and doing less of them. I like 3 personally. 2 would be also a great number if you had some really big ones, but back in the day, people tended to do smaller pendants and do many of them. And nowadays the trend is more, let's really get something gorgeous and big and make it a more simple design, but really visually stunning.
Andrea, go back to that screen really quick. Fred's taking a look again. It looks like some of the folks that are having problems on Zoom, I'm wondering if it's because we're not on the newer version, but we're going to try and catch up the screens really quick again. We do have a question from Kathleen, 2-part question. In a smaller kitchen, what's the most popular color of wood for cabinetry? Also, how important is a formal dining room in California? Would it be a mistake to forego the dining room and expand the kitchen in its space?
Okay, those are really good questions. 2 separate questions. One, I would say in a small kitchen, you know, personally, I think you could go with a lot of different colors, especially on the bottoms of the cabinets or the island. I wouldn't worry too much. You might want to go a little lighter on any upper cabinets if you do have them. And there you go with the floating shelves would be a great idea to keep it looking big and open in your kitchen. But the light wood trend would be a great thing to explore. The white is still a major trend. So I would say that just keep it kind of light on the uppers, but then you could kind of do what you want below, and I think you'd be fine. The second question, what was the second question?
The second question is, how important is a formal dining room in a California?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
I
You know, most people in California, really, as long as they do have that big kitchen island with lots of places to sit, that's the most important thing. I hear a lot of people saying they don't use their formal dining rooms, or they're changing them into a sitting room, or maybe like a cocktail area with 4 swivel chairs and a big coffee table. So you can do a lot of fun things with that dining space, but I don't think it's very important for most people anymore. It would depend on you though, and how you use your home. So if you're a big entertainer and you like to have dinner parties, you're probably going to want to have a big kitchen table somewhere where your friends can all eat with you. I like to sit at a dining room. So if you are a person that likes to entertain, you might want to consider that if you're doing sit-down dinners.
Thank you, Andrea.
Yeah, are we all caught up?
Yeah, looks like we're all caught up.
All right, awesome. Well, you know, coffee, everybody loves to go to the coffee house. Coffee is really popular. The Keurig machines have really changed the way people can drink coffee at home and have a single serving without making a whole big pot. I have an espresso machine, which I just love. And, you know, you can invite your friend over to have some coffee at your house instead of going out to the coffee bars, which can also get really expensive if you're taking coffee out all the time, maybe twice a day. So this is something that we're seeing in kitchen designs. A lot of people want to have a designated spot where they could keep their coffee maker, their cups, and you can really make it very interesting looking. They even have these beautiful gourmet coffee machines that will be built in, and your contractor can help you get water there so that you don't have to go and fill up that pot anymore. It's just always going to be ready for you to go. There's a nice picture of little French looking coffee area with the floating shelves. So all of these trends, you know, you want to explore kind of combining them, which is what you're seeing here with even that wall of the subway tiles. The last trend that I have on my list today is green and blue. And I have to say navy blue cabinets have really been very popular in the last year or two. it's a traditional color, and it's very practical color to use in your home. It's easy to use. It's going to look good for years to come. It's not a trendy color, especially in California. You're going to see a lot of blues and greens because of our proximity to the ocean. It's a very calming color. You might eat less in a green and blue kitchen because, you know, all the fast food restaurants, they do red and orange to make you eat a lot of food. There's been studies.
Apparently I need a blue kitchen.
So I love this navy blue, and it also goes hand in hand with another trend that we did not talk about today, which is the new gold hardware for the kitchen cabinets. So it would look amazing on these blue cabinets. So think about it. It's a classic color that's going to be super durable for your family and look good for years to come.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That's the list.
All right. Well, I'm getting quite a few people that are still saying that they're having problems with the seeing thumbnails, and I'm so sorry about that. So I did let you guys know, and anybody who hasn't messaged me privately, I will send off this PowerPoint presentation so you can see the bullet points with all of the images. I'm terribly sorry that we're having that problem today. But moving on, let's go ahead. I'm going to introduce Cynthia. And Cynthia is a preferred vendor of Classic Home Improvements. They are a cabinet manufacturer here in the States. She's getting ready to share her screen right now, and she'll let you know about their products and what she's seeing with trends and cool storage options and other things that have to do with kitchen cabinets. So here you go, Cynthia. Thank you for joining us. Oh, you're on mute.
Hi, I'm Cynthia, and I work directly for a division of the largest cabinetry-focused manufacturer in the US, which is Waypoint. I work with partners like Classic Home behind the scenes daily, and I'm super appreciative for this opportunity today because in my everyday, I don't get a lot of direct interaction with homeowners like yourselves. A little bit about me. I've been in construction for over 20 years and am a civil engineer by degree. This is a totally different field for me, but it just so happens that I've spent the last 6 months remodeling my forever home. So this makes today just that more meaningful to be with you. Remodeling is a journey. Many of us are deciding to embark on that journey, and I learned there's both right and wrong ways to go about it, for sure. Waypoint is an exclusive brand for the American homeowner. We have been in business for over 60 years and are the choice of national builders. In 2010, J.D. Powers ranked us highest in the kitchen cabinetry satisfaction survey, which is super impressive. I'm here today to speak from the manufacturer's perspective. As the largest manufacturer of cabinetry, we have unlimited resources and capabilities to track trends and market indicators. COVID, albeit, brought its own challenges and downfalls, but an upside is that remodels have hit record highs and more homeowners have refocused on the home. Cliche as it sounds, the kitchen really is the heart of every home and ranks in the top 3 of Americans' largest purchases over their lifetime. So now's a good time to touch back on the 60+ years in business I mentioned a side back. This is a large investment for you. You want to absolutely choose a cabinetry company with longevity and a lifetime warranty. In 20 years from now, some of our dealer partners may not be in business, but as a company, we're still going to be here. It's unique, a lifetime warranty to American manufacturers. And it's unheard of with most imports, but we stand by our cabinets and we stand by you. As a company, we focus on 80% of Americans. So what you see in our line actually is going to represent 80% of all the purchases made across the US every year. We're semi-custom and made to order. So your designer, like an ANDREA or a Jack, are going to provide specifications tailored for your space, and we build to those, meaning we don't stock cabinets and you can't find Waypoint on the shelves at a big box store. Why is this important? Well, there's kind of a secret among manufacturers. price increases on kitchen cabinetry when manufacturers hold on to inventory or have to add production lines to offer everything under the rainbow. So part of the value you get with Waypoint is that you aren't eating inventory costs or paying for styles or colors that you're not buying in the first place. On the map, I just wanted to point out, these are all of our manufacturing facilities. We are truly all American cabinetry. All of the cabinets for San Diego and Southern California come out of Arizona, Kingman, Arizona. And I point that out because we're just outside of California, and California has some of the strictest EPA and paint guidelines in the world. So it's important to note that finishing just outside of California gives us the advantage to abide by US standards, but provide a higher quality finish. So it's really a win-win. So you're here today because you're contemplating a remodel, and I'd like to share my top 3 next step recommendations and rules. Let's look at these images. They're all beautiful and exceptional. Style, symmetry, depth, interest. If free, I think all of you would take any of them, right, in a heartbeat. But this is your opportunity. This is your investment that you're making. And beyond general consensus, the kitchens in these 4 images are very, very different. This is going to be fun, I promise, but this first step is probably your most difficult. So rule number 1, this is the difficult part. You need a starting point. So 99% of us don't even know where to start or can pinpoint our personal style. And I'm betting this is going to be a joint investment. So you've got 2 people's styles that you're concerned about. On our website, there's 3 great starting points. Number 1 is our online style quiz. So it's 5 to 10 minutes. You choose between a series of images, and it's pretty elementary, but it actually works really, really well. Step number 2 is the Magalog. So it's printed, it's free, it's half magazine, half catalog. Classic Home is going to get a list later on, and we'll send you one for free and kind of like a gift baskets of goodies. And then number 3 is the online visualizer. So this is super bare bones, not anything close to what a designer like ANDREA is going to do for you, but it's web-based and it doesn't require a download. So for me, it's always just fun to play around with. Rule number 2. So this beautiful Magalog that we're going to send you, we'll send you another one if you rip it all up, but we want you to rip it up. Tear out the designs and the looks that you want, leave the others, and then take everything you ripped out into your appointment with ANDREA or your designer. And if you're kind of looking at this slide, what I want you to what I'm talking about really is this image on the right. I mean, you can say, I love the legs, I love the drawers, but I don't want that color. I want it in some other color. Tear it out, bring it into your design appointment, and you want to give your designer and your design build or whatever general contractor as much information about what you want as you can. And then number 3, this is the golden rule, and kind of a lot of what I realized during my remodel is you need a good designer. There are so many nuances to a great kitchen design. Notice the repetition in this island and the balance achieved by the designer. Those windows are offset, but it just comes all together very purposefully. This is a wow kitchen, but working for the manufacturer, I see tons of bad kitchen designs all the time. But just know the novelty of new is temporary. What lasts and is timeless is really the design. I can't emphasize that more. Size and shape, old or new, color or style, none has ownership of the wow effect more than a good design. And a good designers are going to know when to spend and when to save. So the Target t-shirt with the designer jeans effect, they master this and they work within budgets on hundreds of remodels. That's really what they do. Take what you want, your ideas, and turn them into budget-friendly works of art. But the last thing I kind of want to mention, because I think it goes overlooked, is the wow of your kitchen is really equal parts visual and functional. So cabinet accessories really make for wow moments every day after. You're not going to regret the investment. Gone are the days of non-helping drawers and cabinets. Your cabinet should and can make your life easier. Again, you're going to go through this remodel. You might as well do it right. There are tons of options nowadays, and a good designer will help you sort through the right ones for your household. You shouldn't have to rummage through bins and drawers. Kitchens really should make your life easier. And it's not limited to kitchen spaces, bathrooms, bars, laundry areas. Like a happy house for me is an organized house. It's not always easy, but you really, really want to make your cabinets work for you.
Hey, what's that one in the bottom right-hand side of that last slide?
Oops.
Is that like soap or something in there?
Yeah, so it's like, you know, right underneath the sink, they have those under sink drawers now that kind of just pull out. Use it in your bathroom.
Ah.
You know, toothbrushes or soap. You can remove the stainless steel thing because I'm kind of a clean freak. So you can remove that stainless steel thing and wash it. That was important to me because at first that looked not functional at all.
Yeah, those are really cool.
And let me see. Let me go back. I just can't tell you enough, but I've been in so many homes and looking inside drawers and cabinets. That's truly your wow factor. And it's one of the most envied characteristics of someone's remodel are the accessories behind like the beautiful doors and the beautiful design. And just to wrap up, 3 steps, 3 rules, right? You need a starting point. Use online tools. You need tangible ideas. Use the Magalog. And because you need a wow design to stay in your budget, you need a great designer. And that was it.
Oh, that was a great end. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And I like all the cool features that they've got, the new storage stuff. I didn't put any of that in mind, so I'm kind of jealous, to be honest with you.
I know.
So couple of things for you folks that are still on here. Are there any questions that you have that we have not answered? We've got about 7 minutes. I have a few questions that are generally asked, frequently asked questions online, so you won't have to find them if you don't want to go searching, but I want to make sure we address your direct questions first. Anybody have anything they would like us to ask the designer, the cabinet manufacturer, or the contractor? While I'm waiting to see if there are any responses there, I do want to let you guys know that Waypoint has gifted everybody who has attended a little gift box. So we're going to be sending that off with that Magalog. We'll include information for the panelists that were on here. You might have noticed that in the chat box, there was a couple of links that were dropped. One is a link to speak with me. Like I said, I speak to over 100 different contractors in San Diego. The panelists that were on here today might not be able to help you. However, I might have contacts that can. So if you're planning a kitchen remodel, I don't care if it's $10,000 or $100,000. If you have any direct questions that you want answered, give me a call. I'm more than happy to point you in the right direction. As always, make sure you do your own due diligence with checking for license and insurance on cslb.ca.gov. I do have one question that came in. Time frame from planning to completion in a small kitchen. Let's do that 2 parts. Andrea, how long does it take you to design a kitchen? And Jack, how long does it take you to build a kitchen?
Well, the design portion has a little bit to do with the customer and how quickly they can come up with the design with their designer. So if you're pretty sure you know what you want to do and you have a good designer that can show you a nice maybe 3D visual, then that can help you decide on your design sooner. It might take you a couple of weeks to do the whole cabinet design and also choose your materials and make choices on the tile, the countertops, and that kind of thing. So if you do have a good company that can service you in that way and help you make those choices quickly with design help from a specialist rather than running around to shops all over town, that will help your time frame a lot. So I would say then we do have to order the cabinets, which can take 4 to 6 weeks. And we like to make sure that everything's going to be on time and in stock before we start demoing someone's kitchen, because we wouldn't want to start ruining your kitchen to where you can't use it and have a longer period of time that your remodel would actually take. So I would say for the planning portion, you would want to expect maybe about 2 months to choose all your materials and sign off on the design as well as ordering the cabinets.
And then Jack, once all those materials show up on site, how long does it take you to build?
So there's kind of two parts to that. One of the things that gets often overlooked, I should say, is that the majority of these projects are larger projects, and as such, they need to be permitted. So part of that permitting process, if you're moving walls, if you're moving plumbing or electrical around, if you're changing windows, if you're hanging more than one sheet of drywall, then you need to get a permit from your local jurisdiction. So it kind of, the whole process really, design becomes part of the equation. It can happen concurrently so that you don't have to extend your timeline. And I'll tell you what I mean by that is if you know basically what you want to do in the kitchen, where you want to move the sink, where you want the range to be, and you're working with your designer, we can begin the process of getting your blueprints done and getting your permits ready while you're working with your designer on the colors of the cabinets and what kind of tile and things that you want there. So let me just kind of say this. So once you know the design, it's going to take about 30 days to get a blueprint. It's going to take, in pre-COVID days, about 4 to 6 weeks to get the average permit. Obviously, if you're doing big additions or you're trying to do something that's not standard with the city code, it'll take longer. Right now, it's taking about 2 months because of COVID to get a permit. Like I said, you can do some of your design. You can even have your cabinets coming while you're waiting for your permits to get there. But then once we start swinging a hammer, so once we begin the demo, like Andrea said, you want to have your stuff either there or on the way. A simple kitchen is going to be 4 to 6 weeks. If you're doing additions and things, obviously that's going to take much longer because there's other factors before we could even begin the kitchen part of it.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you for answering those. We did have 2 more questions come in. I'll go in order. The first one is, what is the best route for financing of a project? Is it a home equity line, a construction loan, refi, pros and cons? For Monica, if I've got your email address, I actually have a webinar we did on that as well with some local San Diego pros. There's 3 different affiliates that I can share with you, and they speak about that intelligently from that industry themselves. But Jack might have some insight on that as well, because I know he works with these folks every once in a while.
Sure. So and Nicole's right. I mean, we spent an hour discussing this very topic, but if I was to describe it in about 3 minutes, there's obviously the easiest way is your savings account, but not everybody or most people have a savings account just sitting around waiting to spend on your kitchen. So then you have a couple of choices. You could do a home equity line of credit, which means you leave your mortgage where it is and you just get kind of a second mortgage that you write checks as you go. You can use that money. If you're contemplating a bigger project or you want to take advantage of lower interest rates, you could just refinance your house altogether and just take equity out of your home. When you finish that project up, then your money will be in your bank and then you're just writing checks as you go. And then there's other ones where you can take smaller signature loans where you can just borrow money, usually $50,000 or $60,000, something like that. They just borrow the money from the bank, almost like a car loan without the car. And then you can spend that money. There's credit cards. There's all kinds of different ways you can do that. All of them have different costs and simplicity or complexity issues that go along with it.
Thank you. And then our last question was, are you a fan of induction cooktops? What are the pros and cons to those cooktops?
So I can answer that one from personal experience. So I just remodeled my kitchen and we've been asked a lot about induction cooktops over the last couple of years. It's a new trend. And so I put one in my house because I wanted to see how it worked. I like the electricity factor versus using gas. But when I grew up in the 70s and 80s, we had a lot of electric cooktops and I am just not a fan of those. They're the ones where the glass actually heats up. It's kind of hard to heat them up or cool them off quickly. So I was a little bit leery, honestly, about using induction cooktops, but induction cooktops are different. The electricity is the fuel that's used, but how they work is they're magnets that actually heat up the pot or the frying pan instead of the glass. So you can actually, what I've found, you can boil water in about a minute or two, a whole big spaghetti pot full of water, because they work that quickly. But you also have a lot of control where you can change temperature from high to low quick if you're doing sauces. The other nice thing is the safety factor. It only is heating the pot. It's not heating the glass. So you could put your hand sort of right next to the pot and not touch the pot and not even burn yourself. So I was leery when I installed it, and I'm a fan for life. I love induction cooktops now.
Great. Thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you again for coming today. We really appreciate your time. I will email out these recordings to you. I'll clean it up a little bit so you'll see all the videos, really good, high quality images. There is going to be a link put in the chat. That's going to be for our next webinar. That's going to be on February the 24th, I believe. We're going to have Kohler here. I'm very excited to have another huge manufacturer come in and speak with us. Cynthia, thank you so much for joining us. Andrea, Jack, I really appreciate it. And before you guys leave, if there's anything, any other topics you'd like us to cover on the Bridge channel, please do send us a message. But other than that, stay safe and be well. Take care.